Hey guys, what is going on? It is Deboki here, once again, and I've got invited to a MapleStory wedding, so I decided to go ahead and record it. And thank you Maya and Juan also for inviting me and allowing me to record this glorious event. But as you guys know, MapleStory weddings tend to be pretty long, and there's not much that really goes on at a wedding, but it's still fun to go to, and it's a social gathering, and it's fun to hang out with friends and guildies. But I just wasn't really sure what I was going to do with the video. Was I going to edit it up and make it into some nice music video, or do some commentary on it? And you guys know already that my editing skills is no bueno, so I decided to just go with the commentary approach. But yeah, I just held on to it because I didn't want to do too much of a random commentary for this video for some reason. I wanted to do something that related with this whole wedding scheme. When someone gets married on MapleStory, they tend to, it's kind of implied that they're dating, and it's kind of, their relationship's a little bit stronger than just friends. This whole dating on an online game tends to make people still feel uneasy. It's kind of in that gray area, and it's still kind of looked down upon in society. And yeah, I also think it's quote-unquote weird also to be dating in an online game. Even though I met my girlfriend on MapleStory, it's still like weird. It's interesting though, because just yesterday early morning I was sent a message on YouTube, and she watched my Chaos Raccoon video on how I met Tammy, and that kind of inspired her to tell me her story on how she met her soulmate. And this story was different from a lot of stories that I've received from you guys on how you guys found your soulmate on an online game or something like that. This one just really opened my eyes and enlightened me on, and gave me a whole different perspective on this online dating on a game. And it really taught me a message. So I thought that I wanted to go ahead and tell you her story, and hopefully it'll change some of your guys' perspectives and give you a different perspective, different light on this whole online dating. First of all, though, I'm not going to tell her story into the greatest detail because, well, I get kind of emotional when I read and talk about her story. I don't know why. I'm just a weird person like that. I don't want to be like slobbering and sniffing all up on this camera, or not camera, this microphone here, and I don't want to be weirding you guys out, like sobbing in your ears. But yeah, so this story was pretty touching. But so Susie, she met this guy on an online game, and they got pretty close, and they fell in love. Their distance was a lot greater than me and Tammy at the time. Tammy was living in California and I was in Colorado, but their distance were countries apart. So you guys could imagine that visiting each other was a little bit out of the option. It was kind of hard, but for some reason they were just so madly in love. And you guys are probably, some of you guys out there are thinking, well, no, that's not real love. Well, alright, well, let's just go on with the story, and let's just see if it's true love or not. So this guy, of course, obviously he had a lot of problems at home, and things that he wouldn't talk about with Susie. He would put on kind of his fake mask. Not a fake mask, but he would leave out some things from Susie, because he had a lot of trouble and burdens at home that he didn't want to overburden Susie with. My opinion, I feel like that was a very wrong decision on his part, because the thing is that when people are in partnerships and relationships, true relationships and partnerships is when you share the burden with someone else. When you're a partner with someone, you split. Partner means you share what you have with each other, even though if it's good things or bad things. Burden especially. Not one person should burden everything to themselves. But this guy, he I guess he loved Susie a little too much, and he wanted to shell her from that. And he actually, it was way too much for him, and he attempted suicide. Now, he wrote a letter to Susie, and before he attempted suicide, and I'm not sure what the letter said. Susie did not tell me, but I'm guessing it was a lot of sorries and a lot of apologies. And Susie of course, was, you can imagine how frantic she would be. I mean, if I got a letter from Tammy like that, I don't know what I would do with myself. She could not just go there. It was impossible for her. And luckily, his suicide attempt did fail, and but he did become a paraplegic, and he was paralyzed from the neck down. Now, you could imagine what kind of spot this puts both of them in. They're both madly in love. Susie's loved one is now paralyzed from the neck down from trying to commit suicide. But the thing is, when someone is in love, it does not matter. They want to be there for them no matter what. Susie webcammed him every day, wrote him letters every day, wrote him songs, poetry. Her love was even stronger than when she first met him. And, it was really hard for Susie. Susie was describing to me how hard it was to see him in the webcam with all these breathing tubes coming out of his body just to try to keep him alive. And you know what? She said that love was so strong that she knew that she had to be there for him. It does not matter, because she loved him so much. And she even proposed to him. She wanted to be there by his side and legally be there to physically help him. But he said, of course, no, because he didn't want her to be attached to him, because he knew that he would be too much trouble and too much work for someone to possibly handle. Well, he passed away a month ago, or a month later actually, and he that's probably been pretty a rough time for Susie. I could only imagine what was going on in her head. The one she cared about the most and loved the most, she couldn't touch or be there for him. She couldn't hold him. She never got to kiss him. And yet their love was probably stronger than most people's love would ever be. And this really opened my eyes, guys. This thing, and she says that she found her true soulmate, right? And literally soulmate. She never had to have touched him or hold him or kiss him, physically been able to grasp anything tangible from him. It was just all pure personality and spirit. And she now knows what love is. And it's just crazy because people think that true love is like seen on TV with celebrities, and you're wondering why their marriages only last 2 days. It's because that they're loving each other for the wrong reason. They're loving each other for the things that they can grasp and hold on to physically, like money, their appearance, stuff like that. What they're missing, very most important, is being in love with their personality. Holding on to this personality and falling in love with someone's personality for themselves is very different. And this is where I think it's very different from dating on an online game, dating on an online date site, and dating in just person. When you date in person, of course, when you communicate with someone, there's a lot of different factors that come into play. The way they look, the way they smell, the way they act, right? Their personality, all these things, the way they hold themselves up. But what if you just took away all the physical stuff and just their pure personality? And that's online dating, like on a game. And I feel like also that dating online, on an online video game, and dating on an online date site is very different. Because when you do an online dating, you're putting yourself out there and you're wanting to attract a date. You're looking for someone physically appealing to you to date online. And that is, of course, very different from dating someone on an online game, because you're not looking for someone on an online game. It just comes. It's like I said before my Chaos Raccoon video, it's just natural. And I feel that, this really just kind of enlightened me a bit. And it was crazy because she never got to be there with him. 2 years of her life, and she has grown so much, and she's experienced so much, and it just made her such a stronger person. And she says to this day still that she is madly in love with him, and that is a soulmate. Guys, I want to thank you so much for watching. And this has been Deboki. And like always, guys, we'll be seeing you guys later.